Jersey's most infamous resident, a mythical beast referred to as the Jersey Devil. What exactly is the Jersey Devil? How did this legend arise? And is it more than just a legend? Stick around, and we will soon find out together. Hello, my lovely YouTube friends. I'm so happy to see you here today. So for today, I have another creepy and unusual video for you all. I don't think I've done one of these in a while. And today's creepy and unusual legend is going to be on the Jersey Devil. So, get cozy, grab your favorite snack or your favorite blankets, and let's just get right into it and get to ASMRing. And as always, I have some notes here on my phone that I will be looking at. So, to begin, for close to 300 years, residents of New Jersey have told tales of a mythical beast that stalks the Pine Barrens and terrorizes local residents. One of the most enduring and important pieces of folklore within New Jersey is that of the Jersey Devil. So, to understand the legend in its present state, let us first take a look at the history of the Jersey Devil. According to most accounts, and possibly the most widely held belief, the story of the Jersey Devil originated from a woman named Mrs. Leeds, who was a resident of Estoville back in 1735. Although the exact identity of Mrs. Leeds is unknown, it is speculated that she is a woman specifically named Deborah Leeds, and her husband was a man named Japhet Leeds, which is based on the fact that Japhet Leeds named 12 children in the will he wrote during 1736, which is compatible with the story of the Jersey Devil. Leeds is known to be the name of one of New Jersey's earliest settlers, and many descendants of the Leeds family can still be found throughout New Jersey to this day. So the legend states that Mrs. Leeds, or Mother Leeds, was pregnant, and this wasn't her first or second or third pregnancy. No, she was pregnant for the 13th time. Despite having over a dozen children with her husband, Mother Leeds' husband was not a stand-up father. Legend states that he was a drunkard who made very few efforts to provide for his wife and 12 children. The family was in no way wealthy either. Because of all of this, Mother Leeds, who was distraught after learning about her 13th pregnancy, raised her hands to the heavens and proclaimed, "Let this one be a devil." Then, one stormy and thundery night in 1735, regarding her unborn child. Local midwives gathered in one room to help Mrs. Leeds give birth, while her husband and children waited in another room. Now, by all accounts, the birth of her 13th child went routinely, and she gave birth to a seemingly normal baby boy. However, minutes after his birth, the baby started to change and quickly metamorphosized into something terrifying right before Mother Leeds's and the entire family's eyes. Mother Leeds's curse months before giving birth came to fruition as her newborn baby turned into a hideous creature unlike anything the world had ever seen at the time. Her baby's cries were soon replaced with ferocious growls, and horns quickly sprouted from the top of the baby's head. Talon-like claws tore through the tips of the baby's fingers, and leathery bat wings unfurled from its back, with hair and feathers sprouting all over the child's body quickly after. Her newborn baby's eyes began to glow an ominous bright red color and grew larger and larger as the baby's face became more and more monster-like. After the 13th child's transformation was complete, the now monster turned towards Mother Leeds and savagely attacked her, killing her almost instantly. Then the monster turned its attention to the remaining witnesses of its disturbing transformation. The monster flew at them, clawed at them, and bit at them while letting out unearthly shrieks the entire time. Sadly, the monster also killed the midwives and several other onlookers. After taking out nearly everyone in the first room, the monster then knocked the door down to the next room where the rest of the family sat waiting. The monster attacked the Leeds family, killing as many members as it could, including its own father, Mr. Leeds. After this second vicious attack, the beast flew out of the chimney and into the unsuspecting world, leaving a wake of damage and bloodshed in its path. And those who survived this attack watched as the beast disappeared into the darkness and desolation of the Pine Barrens, where it has lived ever since, terrorizing any who are unfortunate enough to encounter it. Now, throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, the Jersey Devil, aptly named after, the state in which the beast resides, and the curse made by Mother Leeds, was spotted sporadically throughout the Pine Barrens region. Prominent citizens or government officials were among those who claimed to have witnessed the creature. And because of these supposed sightings, the story of the Jersey Devil quickly transgressed from local folklore to being present in the region's culture. Various hardships that plagued the region were quickly attributed to the Jersey Devil. For example, crop Superstitions even developed regarding this monster, as some believed that the Jersey Devil appeared every 7 years, while others claimed that it foretold disaster and war. Now, reportedly, Joseph Bonaparte, Napoleon Bonaparte's brother, and the former King of Spain encountered the Jersey Devil in Bordentown, New Jersey, while he was hunting in the nearby wood. And additionally, the infamous Captain Kidd is said to have beheaded one of his men to guard his buried treasure forever, and this man is reported to have been seen walking with the Jersey Devil alongside the Atlantic Ocean and in nearby marshlands. So overall, Jersey Devil sightings spanned large geographic distances, from Bridgeton to Haddonfield to the New York border, and from Gloucester City to Trenton. And all early sightings were passed by word of mouth. However, this trend changed in 1909 when police and newspapers published a well-known account of the Jersey Devil in January of 1909. So, starting on January 16th and spanning until January 23rd, 1909, reports started emerging from all across Delaware Valley that strange tracks were seen in the snow. These unknown footprints could be seen all over, under fences, through large fields, in backyards, and even across the rooftops of houses. And the footprints were reported to even be in large cities such as Camden and Philadelphia. Due to the unknown and concerning nature of these footprints, panic began to spread, and citizens began forming committees to investigate the footprints. The panic only increased as bloodhounds who were brought in by the committees to follow and attempt to find the source of the footprints refused to follow the footprints trails. This situation caused so much fear that even schools closed or experienced extremely low attendance, as children and parents were too afraid to leave their homes and travel through the woods to get to their jobs and schools. As has been reported, eyewitnesses spotted the creature, creator of the footprints, in the cities of Camden and Bristol in Pennsylvania. In both cities, upon encountering the beast, police opened fire but were unsuccessful in stopping the monster. A few days after this initial encounter, the Jersey Devil reappeared in Camden and viciously attacked a late-night meeting of a social club before flying away into the darkened night sky. Additionally, earlier that same day, the creature appeared in Haddon Heights, where it attacked a trolley car full was described as an ostrich-type creature. That's a little scarier. While the monster was standing atop the house, firefighters attempted to use their heavy streams of water to attack it. However, the creature flew at them instead in retaliation and quickly disappeared into the daytime sky. That's wild. Throughout the entire week, there were several people who claimed that their livestock had been slaughtered and even reported their pets being targeted, but thankfully not injured in any way. Good. Although these events occurred in several cities, the most widespread accounts of witnessing or being affected by the creature occurred in the towns of Bridgeton and Millville. Now, since this 1909 rampage, the Jersey Devil has not made any similar appearances in terms of frequency and intensity. However, sightings of the Jersey Devil continue to be reported to this day. Although the Jersey Devil has become so well known that its story has been widely commercialized, many longtime residents believe that the Jersey Devil is a very real and very dangerous creature, not to be taken lightly. Most sightings involve witnessing footprints in the mud or snow that resemble that of a strange bird or even hooves, while a few sightings claim to have actually seen a glimpse of the Jersey Devil itself. Witnesses often claim that the Jersey Devil resembles a kangaroo with a dog-like head, leathery wings, antlers, a tail, and very sharp and scary claws, which closely match the initial description of the Jersey Devil upon its transformation from baby to beast. Of course, there are, as with any story or legend, several skeptics of the Jersey Devil who claim it to be merely an imaginative tale held too closely by the community in which it has terrorized. However, whether the Jersey Devil exists as merely a tale or truly within the Pine Barrens, this creature will always lurk among New Jersey and its people. So, now that we have some history on the Jersey Devil, why don't we take a look at some of these stories that I have found that kind of recount sightings of the Jersey Devil? And these stories are stories that I got from a website that I use to collect a lot of my information, which will be in the description box if you want to take a look at. I always list my resources, so if you want to take a look at those, they are there. So that's where I found these stories. It's the weirdnj.com resource. And it is an article that was written by Mark and Mark in January, actually, of this year. So, and awake when I caught a glimpse of something in my rearview mirror. Curious as to what it could have been, I slowed down to take a gander. It was dark out, but moonlit enough that I had no trouble at all discerning the upright figure of a creature crossing the road from one side to the other, roughly 25 feet behind my car. The creature stood taller than a man by far and had thick haunches similar to a goat's, supporting its nearly human-looking torso and huge woolly head. It moved heavily and didn't seem at all disturbed by my being there. It didn't linger long enough to see much more. I hit the gas and flew to the Mansion Park apartments in the borough. So petrified was I that I slept the rest of the night in the car, unwilling to get out in the same darkness that had introduced me to the Jersey Devil. Never again from that day on have I ridden on Green Tree Road, day or night, that I haven't gotten the heebie-jeebies just thinking about that winter night so long ago. Wow, that was written by Mary Ritzer Christiansen. Driving alone in rural areas where it's pitch black, no thank you. Okay, this next one is called Don't Ever Camp in the Pine Barrens Alone. And they start, I spent a lot of time in the Pine Barrens when I was growing up in New Jersey and had my share of strange experiences. When I was about 13, I went camping alone near Hampton Furnace. I had a bow with me and went looking for a rabbit dinner about an hour before sundown. Something started following me back in the trees. It tailed me back to my camp and circled while I cooked my dinner. This kept up until about 2 hours after dark, and let me tell you, it was one dark night. I finally decided that my visitor had moved on and crawled into my tent. She crawled, or they crawled, into their tent, not the creature. When I just started to calm down, I heard a foot stomp down right behind the tent. I got all set to jump out when this thing, whatever it was, started screaming. I would compare the volume of the scream to a large truck's horn. I couldn't decide what to do. I had my bow and knife, but they didn't seem like much. After several blasts, it just stopped. I didn't hear a sound except my heart for about an hour. I was sure that if I stuck my head out of that tent, I'd lose it. Yeah. In the morning, I could find no tracks in the pine needles. To this day, I still don't like sleeping in tents. I'd rather take my chances in the open. And that one is written by simply Keith. Yikes. No. This is why CMCT. Each time I went on this trip, my canoe was followed by a heavy-footed thing. With each step, I heard branches snap under its feet. Oops. Every 10 minutes or so, I could hear deep, beastly growls that to this very day give me the creeps. Being in a canoe and on a class trip didn't afford me much opportunity to flee in terror, so I stuck it out for 3 years. Every year it was the same. During my sophomore year, I was pretty confident about my canoeing skills, so I didn't look over my shoulder much. I went canoeing with a friend of mine when we came across a bag that had been torn open and gone through. Around it were prints on the ground that looked something like a horse's hoof, only bigger. Then I heard it, the cry that still haunts my dreams, part human, part beast, and full of anger, pregnant with pure hatred. I nearly flipped the canoe. We left, leaving whatever it was out there behind, or so I thought. It seemed to follow us. Every time we stopped or paused, it got closer to the river. We pushed on. Then, worst came to worst. As we tipped the canoe, I heard the thing running behind us and thought for sure we were dead. Then we righted our canoe and got into it as fast as humanly possible. We finally made it out to safety, sun-fried to a crisp, missing all of our valuables and most of our clothes, but never happier to be on shore. We packed up our bus and left. As we were leaving, I rested my head on the window and saw a little cottage. I looked at it until the bus was about to pass it and saw a woman. She looked back at me, and I could see her skin was torn and bleeding. After the bus passed, she vanished. Scared me so badly I wouldn't go into the woods for a year. Only a year. And that was written by Kelly. Girl. Again, this is why I don't go outside. This one's titled The Devil on Route 9. Let me tell you of a sighting of the Jersey Devil. I was driving up Route 9 in Bayville at around 10 p.m. There were 2 cars in front of me, and we were traveling about 35 miles per hour. To the right of Route 9 is a mini mall type building with woods behind it. To the right is all woods. All of a sudden, I saw this big thing running across Route 9. It looked like one of the class pictures of the Jersey Devil. It had no tail, no fur. Its ribs showed, and it had a long, odd head with short ears that laid flat. It looked almost 10 feet tall. I noticed it because the first car stepped on its brakes, as did the second car. When I looked ahead, I saw this thing galloping across Route 9 and straight into the woods. I was not really scared because it did not really register yet. I stopped to mail something in the mailbox about 300 feet from the main road, and I saw a child's shirt, shorts, and one say it was a deer. I have never seen a deer that big, that fast, or that weird looking in my life. What is really creepy is that the other two people driving in front of me stepped on their brakes, so they must have seen it too. And that was written by Sunny Z. Yikes. Okay, let us read one more here. And this one is called Camping with the Jersey Devil. Again. In the late 1980s, a couple of my friends and I took a camping trip to the Pine Barrens. I was unaware that we were headed to the home of the Jersey Devil. We headed out on our bikes and did our share of partying that night. The next day, while everyone was asleep, 3 of us decided to hit the trails a bit earlier than usual. We were about 100 yards away in the woods when my bike stalled out. I looked and found that my friends had stalled also. At first, I thought it had something to do with the terrain, or maybe something to do with the nearby power plants. 50 feet away from each other, we tried to start up our bikes, when suddenly, from the woods, we heard the most horrible, piercing scream. It sounded inhuman, like something being tortured. Once back at camp, they asked us if we had heard screams earlier. They had heard them too, 4 miles away. That night, we headed into the local town because we ran out of alcohol. We went into a bar and I ordered a drink, still in shock from what I had heard that morning. The bartender asked, "Hey kid, would you see a ghost or something?" After I told him the story, he smiled and said, "It looks like you met our little friend." He then asked us to come out back. He showed us a tin garbage can that was shredded to bits. It looked like the shreds were made from something with 3 claws. I have never returned to the Pine Barrens since, and I do not plan to go back. And that one was by Frank T. So, I hope you all enjoyed that creepy and unusual video. I wanted to do a monster type video. Something a little creepy and unusual. So, yeah, I found that one quite fascinating. I knew nothing about the Jersey Devil and found some very cool stuff